Nothing really too long or too detailed, but I thought it was interesting to give a bit of context, and I don't think it's required for me to go back to the square one and tell you the story about the Copernicus program and the climate change service in particular. I would like just to jump straight to where we are at the moment, because these are the highlights, and we report back to the Commission and to Member State on the quarterly level, and these are some of the highlights I put in the slide that will be presented to Member State next week. And I'm putting those here because in a sense, they certainly shows the successes of the program, but they also present the importance of reanalysis in that context. So the first element is the speech by the Secretary General of the United Nations back in July about the unusual climate of the summer, shall we say. And this was very significant, and actually the figure of 5,000 media mentioned is a gross underestimation. Now that we have the new figures, actually the real value is close to 30,000 media clipping, which is unprecedented for the service. And a lot of it is due to the reanalysis. So the reanalysis played a major role in informing the World Bank, the World Meteorological Organization, and the United Nations about the state of the climate. So that's the first element I wanted to highlight. The second one is that the climate data store, that, as you know, is the central piece of all we do, has grown significantly, and we reached the 200,000 users at the end of June, only to smash that record, because we are already nearly at 250 just a few months down the line. And what is relevant to the reanalysis in that context is that the majority of those users are reanalysis users. Now, it's not all about reanalysis, and I think it's important to keep in mind the fact that the service goes way beyond reanalysis and covers seasonal and projection. And there is a very significant effort at the moment working on the climate atlas of the IPCC and operationalizing those atlas, which may well have a relevance for reanalysis later on. And finally, the prominence of what the service is doing has been recognized not only in Europe, but further afield. And I found interesting that the US Library of Congress has decided to archive all the webs of C3S in perpetuity because of the importance they had in the global discussion on climate. So I think these are some of the highlights, and as I mentioned, most of them are related to reanalysis. But if we zoom in, and that's where things get interesting, in my opinion, this is the live page of the Climate Data Store that you can access yourself, and you can see on the left the top 8 data set, and this actually was taken this morning. The exact ranking changes from time to time, but it's not uncommon to see the top product being reanalysis-based product. In this case, in this specific case, CARRA doesn't appear, but in other cases, CARRA rather than CERA is among the top one, and I think that's also very telling. And if you look at the number of users and the retrieve volume, this is on the top right, and these are for a week in August. These are just extraordinary numbers, in my opinion. So if we look at the user, most of them are in Europe, the reanalysis users, and most of them are identifying themselves as being academic. But still, this is not true for other data set, but for reanalysis, that's the case. But even for reanalysis, nearly a quarter, well, actually slightly above than a quarter, don't identify as academic, don't self-identify academic. So private sector, public, and NGOs and so on are a significant fraction, and is a fraction that is expanding over time. If you look at the volume, this is only for reanalysis. Well, the volume of download is dominated by the global reanalysis, and in particular by the pressure level that are very significant. But the regional reanalysis appear there, and CARRA is there. The total number of users is clearly much much reduced, much smaller than the global reanalysis, but is there and will probably go up in the future. So if we get into the future, and I stop here, and that's the end of my introduction. So we are in a very good situation at the moment. We have firm commitment in supporting both CARRA and CARRA for the future, for the next few years. And we do appreciate that one of the key components for our user is really the near real-time update. These are an important feature and something we would like to support going forward. It's also worth keeping in mind that the landscape of regional reanalysis is changing very rapidly. So on the one hand, there is this proliferation of nationally supported reanalysis. There are several examples in Europe. But on the other, there are the successes of AI-based methods. So this certainly calls for a general collective reflection on the options we have. And clearly what should guide our reflection is the care for our user, so serving our user community well. And I guess there are some strengths, very many strengths, and I look forward to the discussion in this workshop that we can build our successes on. And this is really the modeling of processes, especially in those data sparse region as the Arctic, the assimilation of new observation, and the enhanced interaction with the land surface, sea ice, snow, and the like. The last point, and then I stop, is to say that for me it's fundamental that we keep working towards the enhancement of the visibility of the regional reanalysis, and in particular of CARRA. On the one hand, on the climate monitoring, so the state of the climate, the monthly bulletin, and the rest, whenever possible, but also increasing and enhancing the visibility in the international policies domain, because this is key for the success of this data set and for the viability and support in the future. So I stop here. Very keen to hear the presentation. Thank you very much.